Have you ever wondered how cattle farming differs in the USA and Australia? Well, today we're going to delve into that very subject and unravel the fascinating contrasts and comparisons between these two beef powerhouses. Cattle farming, a practice that dates back thousands of years, has been a cornerstone of both American and Australian societies. In America, the history of cattle farming is deeply entwined with the narrative of the Wild West, where the image of the cowboy herding cattle is a quintessential symbol of American identity. On the other hand, Australia's cattle farming history is strongly linked with its colonial past, where cattle farming was one of the first industries established by the early settlers. In both countries, cattle farming has grown to become a significant part of their economies and culture. In the United States, the vast plains of the Midwest and the sun-drenched fields of Texas have provided the perfect environment for rearing cattle. Australia, with its diverse landscapes ranging from lush coastal pastures to the arid outback, has also offered a unique setting for cattle farming. This industry is not just about the numbers, it's about the people, the communities, and the way of life. In both the USA and Australia, cattle farming has shaped the identities of many rural communities, contributing to their social fabric and cultural heritage. It's not just a job, it's a lifestyle, a tradition passed down through generations. As we embark on this journey, we'll explore the various breeds of cattle, the differing farming practices, and the economic impact of this industry in both countries. We'll also highlight the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead. Now, before we get into the nitty-gritty, if you find our content interesting, don't forget to give us a like and hit that subscribe button to stay updated with all things farming know-how. So, are you ready to delve into the fascinating world of cattle farming? Let's get moving. First, let's talk about the breeds of cattle and the climates they are raised in. When it comes to cattle breeds, both the United States and Australia have a wide variety to choose from. However, there are some favorites. In the United States, the Angus breed reigns supreme, known for its superior meat quality and hardy nature. On the other hand, Australia leans towards the Brahman breed. These cattle, with their distinctive hump and dewlap, are highly regarded for their resistance to pests and diseases, an essential trait in the country's sometimes harsh environment. Now let's look at the climates of these two countries. The United States has a diverse climate, with farmers in the northern states contending with harsh winters, while those in the southern states deal with high humidity and heat. This diversity means that breeds must be chosen carefully, taking into account their ability to adapt to these varying conditions. Angus cattle, for instance, are bred in many parts of the country, thanks to their versatility. Australia, on the other hand, is generally hotter and drier. Rainfall is unpredictable and droughts are common. In this challenging environment, the hardy Brahman cattle thrive, capable of surviving on low-quality pasture and withstanding extreme temperatures. Farmers in both countries have to adapt their farming practices to suit the climate and the breed of cattle they raise. In the United States, this might mean providing shelter for cattle in the northern states during winter, or ensuring adequate water supply in the southern states. In Australia, farmers need to manage their pastures carefully to ensure their cattle have enough to eat during dry spells. It's clear that both the breed of cattle and the climate play a significant role in cattle farming. In the United States, a diverse climate and a focus on meat-quality guide breed selection, while in Australia, survival traits are the key factor due to the country's harsh conditions. As you can see, climate and breed selection are key factors in how cattle farming is conducted in these two countries. Now let's dig into the farming practices that set these two countries apart. When it comes to cattle farming, the USA and Australia have distinctly different approaches. Let's start with feed. In the USA, cattle are typically grain-fed. This means they're given a diet rich in grains, predominantly corn, to accelerate their growth. This practice leads to a tender, marbled beef that's often preferred by consumers. On the other hand, Australian cattle are predominantly grass-fed. This means they graze on natural pasture lands for the majority of their lives. This results in leaner beef with a distinct flavor that some people prefer. It's also perceived as a more natural and sustainable farming practice. Next, let's talk about housing. In the USA, cattle are often housed in feedlots, large fenced areas where they're fed a grain-based diet. This allows for more efficient growth but has raised concerns about animal welfare and environmental impact. In contrast, Australian cattle are primarily free-range. They graze on vast pastures, which is seen as a more humane practice. It also aligns with Australia's image as a country with abundant open spaces. However, it requires more land and can be less efficient. Animal welfare is another critical aspect of farming practices. Both countries have regulations to ensure the welfare of the animals. However, the specifics can differ greatly. In the USA, there's a focus on providing adequate feed, water, and shelter. In Australia, the emphasis is also on allowing animals to exhibit natural behaviors, such as grazing and minimizing stress. These farming practices have a significant impact on the quality of beef produced. Grain-fed beef from the USA is often richer and more marbled. In contrast, grass-fed Australian beef is leaner and has a more robust flavor. But remember, quality doesn't just refer to taste, it also includes factors like sustainability, animal welfare, and the impact on local communities. The farming practices truly highlight the contrast in cattle farming between the USA and Australia. Now don't forget to like and subscribe to Farming Know-How for more insights like these. Stay tuned as we delve into the economic impact of these differences in the next segment. So, what does all this mean for the economy of these two countries? Let's dive in and explore the economic impact of cattle farming in the United States and Australia. In the United States, cattle farming is a multi-billion-dollar industry. It's a key contributor to the nation's GDP, providing jobs to millions of people, not just on the farms but in related industries like transportation, processing, and sales. The U.S. is also one of the largest beef exporters in the world, shipping out billions of dollars worth of beef each year. But it's not just about exports. Domestic consumption plays a huge role too. Americans love their beef, and the demand for homegrown high-quality beef is strong. Now let's hop over to Australia. Down under, cattle farming is equally important to the economy. The industry contributes billions to Australia's GDP and supports hundreds of thousands of jobs. But there's a twist. Unlike the US, Australia exports a much larger percentage of its beef. In fact, Australia is one of the largest beef exporters in the world, with the majority of its beef heading to countries like Japan, South Korea, and China. But that's not to say Australians don't enjoy their own beef. Domestic demand is also high, with Australians consuming a significant amount of their own produce. So you can see cattle farming plays a vital role in both economies, but in different ways. In the US, it's a balance of domestic demand and exports, while in Australia, exports take the lead. Yet in both countries, the cattle farming industry is a critical economic pillar, supporting jobs, contributing to GDP, and providing a source of high-quality beef for both domestic and international markets. Cattle farming plays a significant role in both the USA's and Australia's economies, but in quite different ways. So, whether you enjoy a juicy steak in New York or a sizzling barbecue in Sydney, remember the immense economic impact of the humble cattle farm. To wrap up, let's summarize the key differences we've discussed today. The world of cattle farming is as diverse as the breeds of cattle themselves. Our exploration today has taken us from the vast plains of the United States to the rugged outback of Australia, highlighting notable contrasts in the way cattle farming is approached in these two vastly different environments. We've discovered that the breeds of cattle chosen for farming are often dictated by the climate and terrain. In the United States, where the climate ranges from freezing winters to sweltering summers, breeds like the Angus and Hereford, known for their hardiness and adaptability, dominate the industry. On the other hand, Australia, with its harsh outback conditions, favors resilient breeds like Brahman and Droughtmaster that can thrive in the heat and resist pests. Our journey also revealed interesting disparities in farming practices. American farmers often opt for feedlot systems where cattle are fed a high-energy diet to speed up growth. Australian farmers, conversely, tend to prefer free-range grazing, capitalizing on their vast land resources to produce grass-fed beef, prized for its leaner and arguably healthier meat. We also touched on the economic impact of cattle farming. In the United States, the beef industry is a significant contributor to the economy, providing jobs and supporting rural communities. Australia, too, reaps the benefits of a robust cattle farming industry, with beef being one of its largest agricultural exports. Understanding these differences is not just an academic exercise. It provides valuable insights into the complexities and nuances of the global cattle farming industry. It helps us appreciate the challenges faced by farmers, the decisions they have to make, and the factors that influence those decisions, and it underscores the importance of adaptability and resilience, two traits that are as crucial in farming as they are in the cattle breeds themselves. We hope this comparison has given you a better understanding of cattle farming in the USA and Australia. Don't forget to like and subscribe to Farming Know-How for more insights into the world of farming.